What's up, guys? Welcome to Why Girlfriends English, and today we're going to talk about 10 formal English phrases that you should only use in writing, never in your speech.
Right. These are terms that are super formal, and they kind of harken back to a little bit of the old way of doing things, but the idea behind these terms is that they are part of a writing culture, email culture, business culture, and honestly, they are kind of dying off.
As always, English language is evolving. It is a living language, just like perhaps your own. It's going to keep changing over time. And what we have with these formal phrases is that they are in a really awkward position right now. Some modern companies and companies run by millennials or younger tend to avoid doing this whole rigid as per your request and to whom it may concern. We tend to avoid those now. But we still have plenty of people in the business world from older times where they were taught this is how you write a business email, very formally, very structured.
These 10 terms that we're going to talk about today, you might find them in your writing and in those business emails, but
which is fine.
These are terms that you should never use when you're speaking just because they are awkward and cumbersome.
So let's get into it. First, let's start off with our greetings, which this one should be pretty easy.
So the first one is a greeting you probably have read a lot, which is Dear So-and-so, Dear
Yes.
Josh, Dear Amber. It is a greeting. It is something that we would put on maybe letters.
To dear ones.
Yeah, to dear ones. I would not necessarily say that to my boss. I would not say dear boss. That
or
would
dear teacher even.
because dear
That'd be
means I love you. You are dear to me. I would say that to my mom. Dear mom, dear brother, dear wife, dear child. I would say those, but not necessarily to a coworker. Either way, you still might come across it in some old letters or old communication between people that are close.
The danger with using this one nowadays, especially in the email world, is presuming upon a relationship that's not there. Presuming that you're closer than you really are. So you really want to reserve this for people who you know are your people. The next one is very rigid. This is to whom it may concern. We've definitely picked on this one.
Yeah, we've done this one before. The idea is that you don't know necessarily who this letter or this email is going to go to. You don't know their name. You don't know their face. Maybe you don't even know their title. Like you're sending an email to
the IRS.
Yeah, and you don't know who it's going to actually reach. You don't know if it's going to be the customer service department. You don't know if it's going to be the human resources department. Yeah. So you just basically say, hey, anyone?
Yeah. This one is definitely, because of the nature of it, you're not going to send it to someone who you have their email. This is going to be something you send to a big faceless entity, a big company, or you send it to legal, some kind of legal concern, unless you know the name of the judge that you're sending it to or the jury that you're sending it to, whatever. Yeah. You are likely going to use this in legal terms, but legal letters tend to be very formal still anyway, even using some of the stuff that we're talking about today. Yeah. However, in the business world, probably lay off on that one.
Yeah. The next group are actually the opposites, which are sign-offs. So these are things that you would put at the end of an email or at the end of the letter.
Close your letter.
The first example is yours faithfully or yours sincerely.
Or I'm all yours or something like that. That is it's like Dear Josh. This is something I would say to Josh. This is not something I would write to anyone else. Like, I might say it to make a joke because that's what happens to these. You're not supposed to say these, but we do occasionally say them as a joke, like using sarcasm or something. If he might say, well, that was nice, or that was graceful, or thanks a lot for that, sarcastically, I might say, yours faithfully.
Yeah.
Or something silly.
The next one is best regards.
This one's really formal. This is something that any job that I've had where I've received emails that say best regards, I'm like, wow, okay, we are very
Give me
spiffy.
My suit and tie.
Yes, we're very spiffy and distanced. This is, our relationship is just business. So if you're trying to go for like a friendly vibe in your company, this is not the way you should sign off. But if you want to be that cold professional who's distanced, like I'm the boss, you're the workers, that's the way it is, then best regards is a great way to sign off.
And it's really funny too, because best regards, the meaning of it is that I hope that the best things come to happen to you. Right. I hope that you get the promotion, or I hope that you get a good job, or whatever.
Maybe it's more like regards as in like the way you regard something. I hold you in high regard, essentially. But it's a word that we don't use very very often at all. And we only use it for formal things. So it's a little bit odd to use this.
Yeah.
The next one is awaiting your reply.
Yeah, and a lot of these sign-offs are redundant if you haven't noticed. Awaiting your reply, it already begs the question that this is what the email is talking about. Like if I say, hey, what time are we meeting tomorrow? Awaiting your reply, Josh.
It's like a very polite way to say, I'm very impatient right now.
Please answer the email now. That's what it's basically saying.
It's like ASAP. It's not appreciated.
Read the message. Give me an answer as soon as possible.
Please.
Please.
So the next set that we have are kind of a motley group. These are the internal phrases that you might find within the email. So here we have things like, please see the attached.
Please see the attached PDF.
This is one of those somewhat redundant phrases. Obviously, they could see there was an attached file to the document or to the email. It used to be a formal thing to do when you delivered things in file folders. That was before when we had to open the file folder just to see what was actually attached or inside the file.
I think it was the old way of making a link. So like, please see the attached schedule when checking availability. Nowadays, you click on the link that goes to the availability schedule and you'd be like, oh, right, okay, so that.
We've moved on.
Yes.
Okay, this term is still used a lot because it's considered very polite.
Yeah.
But it's one of those like extra checkmark things you do when you're not really wanting to think of anything else to say.
And it's reinforcing like, I really need you to double check the PDF, or I really need you to double check the Word document.
So you could expound upon it more saying, I have attached this and name it specifically.
Yeah.
But just saying see the attached is kind of like this command that's in there.
See the attached.
Yeah. But what it happens is some of these terms become minor sentences over time where we drop the subjects because we say it all the time. We say it the exact same way. Right. So adding the subject and the verb in there is kind of like, why?
Why?
So here you have the command, please see the attached. Even though there's no subject, the subject is implied. Just be aware that this one's on its way out. You can still use it safely.
The next one is as mentioned above or as mentioned previously. We definitely wouldn't use this in speaking because these are very spatial terms, like above, like as mentioned above in the email, like
the paragraph above makes sense.
Yeah, but in speaking, we don't organize it like that. And so this would be something that you would say, yeah, we talked about this before, see page 1 or see the previous paragraph, and that's a really good way to reference something above as kind of like an easy transition into the next paragraph to saying, okay, because of that, we're going to do this.
Right. But to say it is weird. Don't say as mentioned previously, because if you do, it means that you've scripted. It's something that we almost purely use for writing. It has this idea that I've thought about this more than you.
Yeah, like a counter argument.
Right.
It's like, wife, as mentioned previously,
oh gosh,
we're putting the kids down 30 minutes early.
Yeah, don't ever do that. That's so weird. So the next set are as per phrases. So this could be as per usual, as per your request, as per the following. As per is very formal on its own because as and per together is a phrasal preposition that has the same meaning as per. Per alone is very formal. We don't use that in daily life unless we're joking. It's so formal that we use it for jokes. If I spoke as per your request, here is your coffee. That's a joke. I'm mocking formality. I'm feigning formality to be silly. As per means according to. So according to your request, or because you requested this, or in answer to your request, basically it's saying, here it is. Here's the result of what you asked.
Almost like as mentioned previously. Like we were looking for this and then now it's here. This is the thing that we were talking about.
You're referring to something in the past. As per usual is referring to a series of events that have happened repeatedly. So as per usual, he is late. As per your request, it means a previous request or order has been fulfilled. So a formal email might say, the order is on its way a day early as per your request. This would be a very formal way to use it. I would not use it in speaking. Even in a scripted speech, I would never use this.
The next one is, in view of the fact that this happened, we're going to go that direction.
That is a mouthful of words for because.
Because this happened, we're going to go there. The reason why we extend this out is just that...
I think it's an emphasis thing. In full view of the fact that nobody in this car has listened to me, we are not getting ice cream.
I think that's the case. Like if I said, because this happened, I'm kind of stressing the cause. But if I said, in view of the fact that, I'm really shining a light on saying there is no chance for this to be different because you have had the chance to see it.
It's literally the drum roll up to
Yeah.
because, essentially.
Yeah.
So it's like going to draw out this phrase to draw attention, like spotlight, basically.
Yeah.
Not very professional, not very friendly, not concise at all. Just say because. So the next one is my condolences.
Which I think we've covered on this channel before.
We have covered on this channel before. We've heard this a few times from people that were just really well-meaning.
The meaning that they're trying to convey is correct. That when
Yes.
something happens, and especially in formal writing, you would say something like, my condolences, for a person you don't know very well.
Yes.
If I'm talking to my friend, my grandma just died, and they say, my condolences, I might slap that friend. We might get into a fight, because that is not what I want to hear. Like, from a stranger, yeah, an acquaintance, sure, but from my friend, come on, you got to give me more than my condolences. That's the coldest way to say, I feel bad for you, or
Yeah.
I'll empathize with you.
It's a very polite way to say, I don't know who you lost. I don't know what you lost. I don't understand or empathize with you, but I'm sorry. It's one of those things that you say when you feel like you have to say something, but you really shouldn't. And it's one of those things that we only really use in writing. To say that in speaking is
My condolences.
very awkward. Don't do that. The next one is, we regret to inform you that... ...
This one is really bad for many reasons. The first reason is that it's too long. The second reason that it sounds really weird when you say it can be like, okay, if it's like an automated email that says, we regret to inform you that your credit card has been declined because of blah, blah, blah. Even then, it's like, it's so cold. There's a culture behind this phrase too, and that's the third reason, is that there's a lot of scams that go around that say, we regret to inform you that your insurance has been declined and that you have to renew your insurance. For some reason, so many scams and letters and computers start with that phrase.
Yeah.
We regret to inform you that. I don't know why.
It really means I have zero feeling for you. But this is the thing. Regret is supposed to be a heavy word,
Yeah.
but it's so overused in this way that now the feeling that we get when someone says, man, I really regret to tell you this, but it makes me feel like, so you feel nothing. You just want to tell me. Like, that's the feeling that we get. Don't use that one when you're speaking. Only use it in very, very formal situations in writing. But again, understand that the feeling that we get is, we don't care, really, but we have to tell you. This is just the polite way to say it.
The main reason all these terms that we just talked about are really not okay is that they all kind of lead you into the passive voice. And just in case you didn't know, the passive voice is when the object is the subject. So the ball was hit, not I hit the ball.
Back in the past, business writing, it was okay to use the passive voice. It was okay to even speak in the passive voice in formal occasions. I guess it just made people feel fancy. But nowadays, that has moved on. There is a place for passive voice in very few circumstances. There are cases like in scientific writing or reports that the subject doesn't matter. Observing that object is what matters. But on the flip side, active voice is what we prefer now for everything. You should not try to take yourself out of things. You say, I did this. I kicked the ball. I wrote the paper. I finished my homework and turned it in on time. Right. It is not rude in American culture at all to say, I did this, or to take credit for what you actually did. That is not wrong at all. And actually, we really appreciate it in this culture.
So if you have a boss, the boss is going to ask you a question. You don't want to say, the work was finished. You should say, I finished the work, or Stephen finished the work. Either way, you want the boss to know and to be able to give credit to the person that did the thing, did the verb.
It's totally okay to use the active voice in American English, especially when speaking, and that should be the primary voice that you write in with essays and anything academic really, but also with business English. Make sure you are using that active voice, and we're going to get into the active and passive voice in a future video because this is a big deal and it's really hard to master.
So there you go, guys. Those are our formal English terms that you should only use in writing. And now, again, these terms are evolving, so some of these might be dying off a little faster than others. Some might be changing, but odds are if you work in an academic background or a business background, you might come across these phrases, and that's what this video is about, so that you guys can stay informed and be able to provide communication even in those kind of settings.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.